Hey, what's going on, DDO players? Axel here. In this video, I'll be giving my review of the Night Revels Halloween-themed seasonal event in DDO, which ended this past Monday. It ran for a couple weeks in the game, and this was the same event that I talked about in my last video, which covered the design of the Night Revels. And in this video, I'm not going to give an outline of how the event works because I did that in my last video. If you want to check that out, if you're a little unsure what the event is, if you didn't participate, check out my last video. I'll link it in the description. And at the beginning of my last video, I gave a basic outline of what the event is. So let's go ahead and get to the review. Let's start with things I liked about the event. As I have in the past, this event replaced Maybar, and as I have in the past, I really like the feel of this event. I really like the Halloween feel. It really fits with the season, and this is one of the few events that actually fits with our real-life holidays. And even though this event is not Maybar anymore, it feels very similar. The Slayer area, at least, is basically the same as the past Maybar event. I liked that the quests were short and simple. Actually, technically they were challenges, but they were Halloweenized versions of some harbor quests. And it was good that they're short and simple because you needed a lot of runs in them and if these quests were, say, 10 minutes long per each, then we would have a significant grind on our hands here. The quests were very nostalgic. It was cool to be able to run the epic version, basically an epic version of some of these old harbor quests. I also liked the key drop rate. Even though some players complained, I think the final key drop rate was perfect. It was a little low at first, but the developers caught on to that and ended up increasing the drop rate later. I personally got one key about every 10 minutes on average, which I felt was fair. With these events, yes, they exist for us, for the players, as a bonus, but also, Turbine's got to make a little money off these events, and there needs to be a time versus money component here in the event, and that's what I thought that DDO was very fair with that balance. You could either spend about 10 minutes farming a key, or you could pay 45 Turbine points and buy one. I think that's very fair, very equal. Now, a lot of players got a little upset about the key drop rates because with the drop rates where they are, there's a lot of variance. That means that from my experience, I got a key about once every 10 minutes. There were stretches where I didn't get a key for 20 minutes. There were also stretches where there was one particular night where I got 2 keys within 5 seconds. So there's a lot of variance there. You're not going to get 1 key every 10 minutes. It's going to vary. So those players that were unlucky might have felt that the drop rate was really too low. But what really happened is they probably just had a string of bad luck. It's a very streaky thing, farming these keys. But overall, I like the drop rate. I thought it was fair. The prices for the loot, in terms of time it took to grind out the ingredients, I was fairly happy with. The augment prices, which the augments, in my opinion, were the highest power level items available in this event, which there was one augment for +2 wisdom, there was another augment for +2 intelligence, and these were spooky bonuses to intelligence and wisdom, so they stacked with everything in the game. I felt that, personally, I grinded out one of the +2 wisdom augments, and I felt the grind was fair. It took us a little bit of a grind, a couple nights for me, but it was worth it considering how powerful this augment is. I felt it was a fair trade. The candies and the consumables, such as the potions, I thought was also fair. The candy grind was very short, which, as I talked about before, and as you guys might know who are familiar with the event, was short because these candies are going away in a few months. So that's fair. If the grind for them was long, it wouldn't make a lot of sense considering they're just a short-term item. Also, something else I liked is I think the developers did a really good job with lag and the bugs. When I first ran this in they had a early preview where they brought the event to the live service for one day, and I did notice some lag and some bugs, particularly for me under New Ravagement. There was a big lag spike at the end. And it was not completable. I also ran into quite a bit of lag in the Slayer area, but as I played with I think they caught on to that and fixed it because I never had a problem with those quests again. Also, there was lag in the Slayer areas, and there is some lag in House J, but part of that was due to there just being tons and tons of players online, which is honestly that's a good thing for the game. And there's going to be some lag when there's that many spawns and when you get that many players in an adventure area, but I felt it was reasonable. It really wasn't that bad. It was always manageable. It's not something that destroyed the event. There was a little bit of lag, but it wasn't anything bad. It wasn't to a crippling level, so I was happy that they were able to keep the bugs and the lag down to a reasonable level. Now let's go on to some of the things I didn't like, and I just finished talking about the grind for some of the items. Now, while I think the grind for a lot of the items was fair and reasonable, I also think the grind for a few of the items was really too long, way too long. Particularly the grind for the old Maybar items like the cloak, the hand wraps, those type of items. I think the grind was way too long to get a fully upgraded item. It was significantly longer grind than the +2 wisdom and intelligence intelligent augments if you're starting from scratch. And considering that those items are very old and outdated at this point, I don't think the grind I think the grind should have been shorter to reflect that. I think the grind was too long for the power level of those items. Let's move on to the Slayer area. The Slayer area, it's okay. It basically was the same as Maybar. But the problem with the Slayer area is it's extremely repetitive. We need more stuff to do out there other than just kill mob after mob after mob. And some of the things we can do, like the red names. The red names in the Slayer area didn't serve any purpose other than having extra hit points. I would have liked to see some kind of extra bonus attached to them, so you would get excited when you see a red name. Maybe give them double the drop rate for keys or something. Maybe have them give out more chocolates, just something like that to make killing the red names reflect the extra time it took, and just to make it a little more special. I would have liked to see a big boss how about a big boss that spawned randomly around once an hour that gave everyone who damaged it a guaranteed key once it dies. I think that would be really neat. It could be like an undead giant skeleton or an undead dragon, something like that, just something really big that was kind of cool to see, that everyone could get together and work as a team to take down. I think that would be really neat. And something else, just so that the help with the killing repetition, I would like to see some, if it's possible, some random encounters, maybe some puzzles, sort of like what we see in the Necro 4 Slayer area. If we could see some kind of rare encounters just popping up there randomly at certain times, where you could maybe do a small puzzle and get ingredients for doing that instead of killing a mob. Maybe have like random light puzzles show up that you have to do, and once you do them you can get chocolates and a chance for a key. Just stuff like that, just to mix things up. I would like to see more mix-ups, just to break up the monotony of slaying monster after monster after monster. Let's move on to the materials going away, and this is something I talked about in my last video. If you've given that a listen, I'm on board with the developers with the candies going away. I think that's fine, that's reasonable. I'm not big on having all the materials go away, like your keys and your chocolates and any of your ingredients, like your caramels or your apples. Any of that stuff that you grinded out over this event, it's all going to be taken away. And the developers are doing that for a few reasons. One's to encourage people to replay the event next year, and the other one is to prevent duping. I explained a little bit why I don't like this in my last video, as I've said a few times now. In this video, go give that a listen. But I don't think particularly taking them away to prevent duping. I think that's a little too preemptive. Duping, for the most part, has been solved, at least for now. And if it ever pops up again in the future, the developers can take measures to combat it at that time. Besides, Night Revels ingredients are very, very low on the list of duped ingredients or items the developer should be concerned about. Duped Night Revels ingredients wouldn't cause near as much harm to the game as other duped items would. Overall, though, I enjoyed the event. I'm, for the most part, happy with it, and I had a lot of fun. I have way more positive things to say about it than negative things. So, good job, developers. The event gets a thumbs up from me. If I had to give it a letter grade, which I'm going to start doing, I need to start doing in these review videos, I'd give it a solid A-. This event surely could be improved next year with some of the things I mentioned, particularly the Slayer area there needs to be something in there to break up the monotony. Other than that, though, I mean, I don't have too many bad things to say about it. The quests in the Slayer area, they're nostalgic. It was a great way to spend some of my Halloween season participating in. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of people in game that I hadn't talked to in a while, and we just slayed monsters and talked, ran the quests, and just it was more of a social thing. And I enjoyed the event for that reason, and I got some cool loot out of it, which will be helpful. So let me know what you think in a comment below. And as always, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and be sure to catch me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Axel311, usually streaming DDO at 9 p.m. Eastern on Fridays. That's all for this video. See you all next time.